Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Look at this. Victoria Park to Armadale Thornlie shutdown from 20th of November 2023. Yes, the details for the massive shutdown, pretty much like the biggest one in the last decade for Transperth, has been released finally today on the 16th of August, which actually I just realized right now, I didn't even think about this before. Isn't the 16th of August the same day they released information about the airport line opening? Maybe. I'm pretty sure they did. Wait. Okay, so I just went and checked, and yes, it was actually on the 16th of August last year. That's actually insane. Like, I can't believe it's on the exact same day. I went back and I saw 16th of August at like 12 p.m. 12 something p.m. was when they, like 12:30 was when they released airport line information. And now, just today, they actually released also the Armadale line shutdown information, and it was also at 12:30. Like exactly 1 year later, exactly from when the airport line information was released. To the minute. That's crazy. I wonder if they did that on purpose. Well done, Transperth. That's so cool. I wonder what will be announced 16th of August next year. Like Ellenbrook line opening or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's just take a deep dive into this now, because there's so much to look at and I want to explain it all in this video to make it easier for you to understand instead of reading everything, since I've taken the time to actually read everything and heavily understand. So the first thing that stands out is over here. What is this? During this time, there will be rail revitalization works happening between Kenwick and Sherwood. We were never told about this. No one ever said there was going to be works also between Kenwick and Sherwood, which is so weird. Now, I don't really know what this means, what it entails. Like, is it like they're replacing all the tracks because they're so old? Are they allowing for higher speeds to make the journey faster? Or are they just doing some typical maintenance and it's just an excuse so more people understand why the whole line is closed? I don't know. But other than that, we will now move on. So, as you can see, major changes to train services. Shutdown starts Monday, 20th of November, which is right after the Coldplay concerts at Perth Stadium and after 8-hour exams end, which is the timing they wanted. Although it's a bit of a shame because my 8-hour exams also end on the 17th, and then I only have 2 days before it closes to film everything. And obviously on the night of the 19th on Sunday, I will be taking the last service on the Armadale line, which is going to be such a significant service, passing through all the stops before they're removed and rebuilt, and Welshpool, which will never be rebuilt. So, as you can see, Sunday night, last service is 12:02 a.m., arriving in Armadale 12:41. Now, unfortunately, last service to Thornlie is 11:47 and gets there 12:10, so there's no way I can go to Thornlie for the last service. Although Thornlie is not being fully rebuilt, it's just having some changes to make it into a through station and having the walkway at the end of the buffers removed, so there will still be major changes, and I will obviously visit there maybe on like the third last train, but I can't go on the very last one, unfortunately. Anyway, yeah, if it was a Saturday night, which is what I was originally anticipating, I thought it was going to be the 25th, just before the 26th, which I thought was the week when they were going to actually start, because I didn't think it would be directly the day after the concerts end, so it's pretty crazy. But if it would have been that, it would have been 2:15 a.m. on the late night services, coming to Armadale at 3 a.m., but I still would have taken it, but that's just crazy. But the good thing would have been I could have gone on the last train to Thornlie, because there's no late night Thornlie services, so I could have taken it on the normal 11:47 service, got into Thornlie at 10 past midnight, then driven back to Armadale and gone back to the city by train for that last service. So that would have been good, but it would have been crazy late at night, so maybe it's better this way. But, you know, like any other, well, Monday to Thursday it would be 12:02 a.m. as well, but on Friday it's also 2:15. But anyway, that's enough details about that now. Back to this. So yeah, so the funny thing, for the first 3 days it's actually going to be a full line closure, because they're going to be building a new turn back infrastructure at Victoria Park. So then for the rest of the shutdown, trains will be running between Perth and Victoria Park unless there's like a shutdown, but we've done like a small one during the big one, but we don't know when any of those will happen. So that's because it still allows access to Perth Stadium and Burswood and Victoria Park, which are all quite major destinations, so it's good that they're keeping the bit of the line open that they can. Still got Beckenham after the Thornlie Spur here, which looks abnormally long and like in the wrong direction. Usually it's below the map. I mean, it doesn't matter, but it just doesn't look correct. Anyway, and yes, existing bus services will be supported by 7 new and 5 enhanced routes. And the funny thing as well is 7.5 minute frequency. Now that's probably just means 7/8, 7/8, 7/8, but that's like half of 15. So that's a pretty high frequency throughout the whole day between Perth and Victoria Park, 15 minutes in the evening. So it's literally, and like even on weekends as well. And it's gonna run as a shuttle. It's like it's not gonna run through with any other line, which is so bad. I mean, I know it would be complicated to make it run through with other lines, but like for drivers, they're gonna have to drive a super short Perth to Victoria Park shuttle, just like 4 stops or 5 when the stadium's open, constantly for like hours. That's gonna be so bad. But oh well, enjoy that, I guess. Anyway, here we go. This is all the information now for all the buses which has been released. Now what I'm just going to pull up is the original map that we got over a year ago, which showed what the proposed routes were, and we're going to compare the current ones to that. So yeah, I'm just going to go get it. Okay, here we go. I got it up now. So this was the original map that we were given so long ago, and I'll just quickly run through all the routes. So it had routes A and B, lettered routes, which was so weird, probably just because they didn't know what to call them, for stops from Armadale to Cannington, but skipping Sherwood and Chalice, and then express to the city was A, and then B was covering the section from Cannington to Victoria Park, including Queen's Park, which was route B only, even though A went right past it. And then we also had 220, probably with enhanced frequency, the current route to serve it, and 221, the express version of that, which was going to be absolutely non-stop, no stops during journey, which is so weird. Armadale to Perth non-stop, and using Shepperton Road here as a faster connection. And then 9:30, Thornlie to Perth, the normal route, which was going to be the main replacement for Thornlie, while we had 2:30, again non-stop Thornlie to Perth, but Perth Busport instead of Elizabeth Quay during peak periods. Route 51, a new route between Cannington and Perth via Orrong Road and Graham Farmer Freeway, just the normal all-stops route. Enhanced 206 services from Murdoch to Cannington via Thornlie, so you can still connect to Cannington because the 908 was not going to run. And then 528 and 529 were going to be new all-stops route from Kelmscott and Armadale respectively to get to Coburn straight along Armadale Road. That's very good, you know, but as well as the 221 full express, that's pretty weird. Then we had a real stupid one, 242, which was going to be only between Armadale and Kelmscott, serving Chalice and Sherwood, since the route A was going to skip it, which that would have been the most underutilized route ever, just to serve 2 non-bus interchange stations when there's already other bus routes going between these suburbs. That would have been crazy. 242, like what? And finally, a very exciting route, 265, Maddington to High Wycombe Express. This is the one I was most excited for. Straight along the highway, Row Highway, non-stop down to Maddington. That would have been so good. You could use the airport line and then get straight down to the southeastern areas really quickly. I would have loved that. But unfortunately, Transperth changed their mind since this. And if we go back to today's maps over here, we have the new one, which is very different and higher quality. And yeah, unfortunately 265 is gone. There is no bus services to High Wycombe from the Armadale line. But replacing that is route 36, which is an old route number, the one that used to be Perth to Midland, now being reused as Cannington to Airport Central, which was what we all thought the 37 should be when the airport line opened. and it's now they just did it anyway. So now we're gonna have 36 and 37 as a new very fast all stops route. This might be a bit more frequent as well, and on weekends maybe. But like the weird thing is Cannington is already gonna have so many services to the city. It's definitely not gonna be faster to take this up and then take the airport line. But if you're going to the eastern suburbs or just going to the airport, it's going to be very useful as a new all stops route. But you shouldn't really consider it as train replacement. And then the other thing that they removed is the 528 from Kelmscott to Coburn. That's not happening. They only kept 529 straight along Armadale Road, very straight route. And they removed stupid 242. That's good because they just made Route A stop at Chalice and Sherwood, while the 221 Express doesn't and goes on Albany Highway. But they actually renamed Route A and B to the usual Armadale line replacement numbers. Obviously, they couldn't just be letters. 907 and 908, although they're not even what 907 and 908 currently are. So let's go through the whole thing now. So I just talked about 36, that's just straight up to the airport, very fast route, less than 10 minutes. Route 51 was kept, Cannington to Perth on the same alignment. It's just a different way to get to Perth, really. Straight up Orong Road and the freeway. That's pretty cool. 206 is just the same as it already is, serving Thornlie over to Cannington, but it's probably going to have its frequency increased. Now 221, they made just limited stops, and there's no more full express routes. That would have been so weird. So I'll go through more detail which stations it stops at later, but as you can see on the map, it just goes on the most direct route along Albany Highway and Shepperton Road, and that's that. And then 230 is the express of the 930, and they also made it limited stops. 529 is, as I said, Armadale to Coburn. 907 is the main route serving all the small stations like Sherwood, Chalice, Seaforth, and so on. And then once it gets to Cannington, it's express to the city except Oat Street. So it's basically like the Armadale line C pattern at the moment, but obviously doesn't stop at Claysbrook or Mackayber either. None of these replacement routes will, because the train goes there anyway. And then 908, this is the really weird thing. 908 used to be always Cannington to Thornlie, just simple service to connect to Thornlie during shutdowns from Cannington. Now they changed it to Cannington to Victoria Park, which was what that route B was, serving all the little stations in between. And doesn't even go to Thornlie. So Thornlie actually doesn't get a dedicated replacement bus. I mean, actually, I don't know if 230 and 221 will be all-day routes or only peak hour routes. But if they are only peak hour routes, which they most likely will be, Thornlie doesn't even get a dedicated replacement bus most of the time. And you just have to go 930 or 206, which is so weird. And yeah, finally 930, the current high-frequency route from Thornlie to Elizabeth Quay. And that's it here. Nothing much more to see, except the quite messy thing at Cannington. I'll let you decipher this. I don't want to really look over it too much. It's just because they've built a new bus interchange to the west of the actual Cannington station, so they can walk at the station while the bus interchange is now going to be serving all the routes, which I will go and look at in real life very soon and make a quick video on it. And yeah, it's just quite messy around there. The other two new bus interchanges are at Armadale. They also built a new one so they can work on the station, and at Victoria Park they built one. Even though we already have Victoria Park transfer station, so now we're going to have Victoria Park bus station and transfer station. Like what? That's so confusing. But then all the other stations with bus interchanges, they're supposed to remain open, which we will look through in a second in the FAQ. But let's look at all of this now. So they've listed all the stations which will be closed. We have Victoria Park, and it says all the routes which currently go near there, and obviously that you can catch a train. And yeah, so the really weird thing is that Victoria Park only has 908 as a train replacement bus. So I'm really confused why they built an entire new bus station there if only 908 is going there. Like what? A whole bus station for one route. I'm very confused about this. It doesn't make any sense. But okay, whatever. And then it just lists ways you can go to other places. So let's move on. Carlisle. Now, it's got all the normal routes that stop nearby, including the new 51. and 908. 907 skips it because it's a C pattern service. But the really weird thing is, look at this, 908 from stop no 10064 on Shepperton Road. What? Buses will not even be coming to the actual Carlisle Station. They'll be stopping on Shepperton Road, which is so far away from the station. Like, look at this, measure distance. It's 700 meters away from the station. So train replacement buses will not even be taking you to actually where Carlisle is. Like Carlisle, as is the suburb, if we click on it, it's just this. And the train replacement bus stop is here. What? So weird, but okay, Carlisle doesn't have buses at the station anyway, so alright, I understand that. They just want to make it faster. But then if we move on, Oat Street, same thing. Shepperton Road, and here we also have 221, the express from Armadale, limited stop service, 230 limited stops from Thornlie, and 907 all also stop at Oat Street, train replacement bus stop, but it's just out on the Shepperton Road again. Like, what? Do you know how far that is from Oat Street Bus Interchange? Maybe, I guess, Oat Street Bus Interchange is not even going to be used, so that's why it's down here. But they never mentioned that, because they're going to be rebuilding Oat Street. Again, 650 meters away, the train replacement bus stops. Very strange. And you've got all these normal routes as well, which go past Oat Street, like 282, 283 to Kalamunda and such, so it's very weird. And then they also recommend 51, which is in the complete other direction if we go here, all the way up on Orong Road. That's even further. What is this recommendation? Like, who's going to walk 1.4 kilometers to get to the 51 if you're at Oat Street? No, that's like if you live here. Yes, not a replacement for Oat Street Station all the way up here. Great job, Transperth. Anyway, if we continue down the line, we have Welshpool here, which is permanently closing. The first time in 10 years that the station is permanently closing. Last time it was Belmont Park and replaced by Perth Stadium. For two reasons. Well, three reasons. One, it has very low patronage at the moment, since it's in the middle of an industrial area. You can watch my Welshpool video to see that. So, not very many people use it. It's one of the least used stations, and it's just not worth stopping there when there's so many other stations anyway. So, that brings us to reason two, which is it's just too expensive, too much work to reconstruct yet another elevated station when there's new ones right here. Like, when they're building new stations anywhere else, they would never build them this close to each other. So why should they do that here? No reason to. And then the third thing is, if it was an elevated station, it would be like elevated through here, and then after that, here we have the Leach Highway bridge across the train tracks. The train would have to dip down very fast to get from the elevated station below the bridge, which is impossible in this short distance of only like 400 meters. So they're not doing that, and they just said it's not going to happen. So it'll remain elevated across Welshpool Road, but then dip down straight after that, and just in time to go under the bridge. And they're going to be replaced by the new Queen's Park, which will be a little bit closer to Hamilton Street here, which then replaces that, and Oat Street will be a bit further down, making the gap between Carlisle and Oat Street bigger, which is good since it's so small right now, and then replacing Welshpool. So because of that, Welshpool is not even going to have train replacement buses. They won't even be stopping there. So the only way you can get there is using the current 282 and 283, which pass nearby. Moving on, Queen's Park, again it only has local services around, and then the 908, even though 907 will be passing on it as well. According to the map, if we look at it, as we said before, it actually goes right past Queen's Park, but it doesn't stop there, so that's pretty weird. I bet some drivers will ignore that rule, but yeah, just have to take 908. And then we have here, look, some school specials, which will continue through as 907s. That's pretty cool. They can continue as a train, sort of, the students. Yeah. And yeah, so only 908 as train replacement bus at, oh, sorry, not that, Queen's Park. Here, sorry, this is what I was meant to press. And then straight after that we have Cannington, which is basically the center of the Armadale Thornlie line at the moment, where they built the big new bus interchange. We have all these local routes stopping there, as well as the train replacement bus 907, 908, and 221 as well, the express service. You can see here, but no, oh no, it doesn't come to Cannington interchange. It just comes to like nearby on the main road, I'm pretty sure, because it doesn't actually list it in here. Yeah, but then we also have 36 to Airport Central, 51 via Orong Road, all these services coming to Cannington interchange bus station. And also, I'll talk about this later, there's a new 651 acting as rail replacement down the Armadale line. That was the one missing stadium event number, because it's 650, then 652, now it's finally existing. But yeah, I'll talk about it later. Thornlie, as I said before, no dedicated train replacement services unless 2:30 will become an all-day thing, but I doubt it. You have to take 9:30 or 2:06 and 2:30 during peak periods for a more direct, fast service. Beckenham, again, it only has one, the normal 907 coming through, and also 651 will be stopping there as well. Kenwick is 907 or 221 actually. The limited stops from Armadale will be stopping at Kenwick, so that's good. And then you have the 220 as the normal route as well, and the 651. So that's quite a lot at Kenwick. Now Maddington was the station which was going to have the express to High Wycombe. Now it doesn't, and it only has 221, which will be stopping there too, and 907. So and 651 from Albany Highway, so they're not turning anywhere. It's just all along Albany Highway. Like, it's just straight up Albany Highway here. There's no reason to turn into the bus stops. It's just here. Yeah, a bit unfortunate that they removed the express there. Then we have Gosnells, which is actually not... Oh, no, sorry. Never mind. It is, yeah, 221 and 220 stop on Albany Highway. So they're not actually turning to the Gosnells bus interchange. They just stop out here on Albany Highway. But then we have 907, which will be stopping at the Gosnells bus interchange as well. And 651. Seaforth is also being served by 220 and 221 next to Seaforth Station on Albany Highway. 220 really doesn't look like much of an express now, does it? I mean, it stops at only train stations, not like every single stop like 220. So just out here on Albany Highway, and then also on the other side of the tracks we have 907 as its usual stops here on this side, and we have 651 as well. Kelmscott is also yet 221 on Albany Highway, and then 907 at the bus station. Now this I'm really confused about. How are they going to access Kelmscott bus station if they're doing rail revitalization works, whatever that means? Like, that means they're gonna be removing the tracks and working over the Kelmscott level crossings where the buses go in to access the station. So I'm pretty confused how that's gonna work. But oh well. We'll find out. And we have 221 and 651 as well. Chalice, it was originally gonna have the stupid 2 for 2 as I said before, but now it just has 907, 220, 221. Just the usual. And yeah, though it doesn't have 651 because that will be going on Albany Highway. Well, actually it doesn't have 221 either because these go on Albany Highway, which is out here, while Chalice is over here, so it's a little bit far away. Yeah. I don't know if 221 will even stop there. Like, why does it say service suburbs near Chalice? So will 221 also stop at random stops like this one? I don't know, we'll see. And Sherwood is the same, exactly the same as that, just 907, 220, 221 on Albany Highway. And then finally Armadale, all the local services, and then also 221 and 907 and 529 to Coburn, which will probably be the best option for Armadale residents. It's like 15 to 20 minutes to Coburn and then another 15 to the city, so it's not going to be much slower than just using the normal train, maybe like 10 to 15, 20 minutes slower. And then 651 as well. Okay, now let's keep reading here. What's really crazy though is like bicycles are not permitted on Transperth buses. That means anyone who was previously traveling regularly with a bicycle in the train line is just completely like stuck now. They can't do that. So that's a bit unfortunate for them. Yeah. And then now here, changes to Optus Stadium services. The rail line is remaining open between Perth and Victoria Park, mainly for the stadium. But then, yeah, the express trains from Joondalup and Fremantle lines will also continue. But these major changes happening with event buses. The new 651 will run between Armadale and Optus Stadium as a rail replacement. As I said, I think it stops at Kelmscott, Seaforth, Gospels, Maddington, Kenwick, Cannington, and I think that's it. And then it goes express to Perth Stadium bus station. But because of that, that's basically going to act like the train on stadium days, which if you have seen the Armadale and Thornlie lines on a stadium day, oh damn, it's so full. So imagine how many buses they're going to use for that. It's going to be pretty crazy, which means now there is going to be a lot of congestion at Perth Stadium bus station, which is why Route 661, which is currently pretty underutilized, just to the CBD. I don't really know why many people would use that. You can just use the Red Cat and walk across the bridge, which is exactly what they're doing now, will be permanently withdrawn for passengers wishing to access the city. Extra Red Cat services will service Matagara Bridge, or train services are available from the stadium. Exactly. Trains are also used, so like 661 was always a bit confusing to me and not very well used. So yes, that's being withdrawn. But then 652 and 653 services from Mirrabooka and Morley are actually not going to be going to Perth Stadium bus station anymore and are moving over to the other side of Matagara Bridge as well, where the Red Cat goes, which is where the 661 used to go before it was made to go to the bus station to just reduce overcrowding, I guess. But now for those passengers, it's going to be a bit of a walk. But at least it's a scenic one to get over to the stadium. And that's it. And then we have the FAQs, which we'll just quickly scan over. Why is the shutdown happening? Well, we know that it's because they are removing 13, is it? Yep, 13 level crossings being removed, which is the main thing. So between Victoria Park and Cannington or Beckenham, they're removing 13 level crossings. So if we count through, we have here 1 Mint Street at Carlisle Station, 2 Oats Street at Oats Street Station, 3 Welshpool Road, which is a very main road at Welshpool Station. Good, they're removing that. 4 Hamilton Street near Queen's Park Station, 5 Wharf Street near Queen's Park Station, 6 is all the way at William Street at Beckenham Station. That's the ones that are moving there. And then if we come down, they're not elevating Kenwick or anything, but they're also doing elevating Armadale, which is then going to be 7 Armadale Road, which is a very main road as well, 8 Third Road and Forest Road, and 9 is Church Avenue here. And then I don't know what the other 4 are. Maybe I think they're counting these towards Byford. Yeah, probably. Like Byron Road 10, 11th Road 11, how suiting. 11th Road 11. Thomas Road 12, which I believe they've already done. They opened the new Thomas Road Bridge a few months ago. And then maybe this Larson Road 13. That's probably that's the 13th one. And then Abernethy Road here is probably 14, and then it terminates at Byford. So they actually probably didn't count Thomas Road since it's already done, so that's why 13. Yep. So that's that, and then the 7 new stations are the new elevated Carlisle, Oat Street, Queen's Park, Cannington, Beckenham, and Armadale, and then also Byford is being built. Actually, I just realized 7 new stations. What? What? They didn't mention Ranford Road and Nicholson Road. What? Transperth. Oh, They're just alluding more and more to the fact that it's not going to reopen after the shutdown, which I'll show you in a second. Crazy. Yep, so that's the dates till mid-2025, although it'll probably be delayed, to be honest. And yep, train services continuing Victoria Park to Perth. Nothing much here to say. So, yeah, the bus routes had quite big changes from what they were before, as I said. 104 extra buses will be added to the network during the shutdown. Now, this means, I guess, a lot of NHs being brought back into service, as well as probably maybe some private buses which are not Transperth if they don't have enough in peak periods, and new buses probably that they're bringing in, like 34XX. They might count that as part of the extra buses. I don't know. How much longer will the journey take? There is no single answer, obviously. But honestly, any journey shouldn't take more than 20 to 25 or 30 minutes longer at max, due to the very good, well, relatively good replacement bus network. I'm pretty disappointed with the replacement buses between like Canwick and Sherwood, as well as Thornlie, especially since they don't have the express to High Wycombe anymore, and they made 221 stop way more. So it's not that great in terms of that. This is pretty much just like a normal shutdown here for Kenwick to Sherwood, just having to use 907. Not that great. And Thornlie just without even a dedicated replacement. Unbelievable. Now this is an interesting one. I actually never thought about this. How will pedestrians cross the tracks? Yes, it's actually going to be so hard. If they're doing major works all the time, there's anywhere where there was currently pedestrian mazes, they won't actually be able to cross. So you're going to have to walk quite a fair distance sometimes to cross, which is why it says the planning of bus routes was made sure that there's coverage on both sides of the track. I think that's probably a big reason why they made 51 exist, so that here in the main section where they're elevating the rail, while all other replacement routes travel on the western side of the rail, 51 goes on the eastern side, so you can at least access this area. So yeah, that's going to be quite interesting. Welshpool will not be serviced by train replacement buses during the closure. It is being permanently closed, and I will be definitely visiting one last time before it closes. Yep, for demolition and construction works. However, facilities not being rebuilt, such as bus stands, parking, toilets, and staff facilities, will remain open most of the time. So that's good. Yes, so see here it says there's no special parking for train replacement bus stops, but at train stations, parking will continue to be available. And then it also advises that there may be alternative options to go to Albin Grove on the Mandurah line or High Wycombe on the airport line. Definitely High Wycombe on the airport line is a major alternative option now that it's open, which is up here. So basically I would say it encompasses all from like here all the way down to Gosnells or Seaforth even. All these people can drive up to High Wycombe if they really wanted to take the train and avoid replacement buses. That is pretty cool, I'd say, that exists as an option, especially with the Royal Highway straight there. I don't know why it says Albin Grove. That's pretty far down. It's further down than Armadale, maybe because Coburn's so full, so they might have to drive to Albin Grove, but that's pretty weird. There's obviously also alternative options at Murdoch and Bull Creek, but their parkings are usually pretty full, so it's going to be pretty hard to get a spot there. Then, yeah. Oh, and then this is also interesting. The temporary bus interchanges at Victoria Park, Cannington and Armadale will open and start operations 4 weeks prior to the shutdown, so around October 20th, for driver training purposes. But that means they will be open earlier, so that's cool. We can film them before the shutdown even starts, and that probably means they'll close the existing bus stations from then on for that. Then they say, yes, train replacement buses will operate to accommodate for the first and last trains currently operating. That's good. There will be wayfinding signage installed. Imagine the wayfinding signage to like Shepperton Road, like Oats Street and Carlisle. Train replacement bus stops this way, this way, this way, this way. Like look at this walk. Imagine I'm at Carlisle. Let's just quickly look at this. So I'm at Carlisle over here, and then it says, train replacement bus stops. This way, guys. Yeah, keep on walking. Keep on walking, walking. Turn left. Keep walking. Down the road. Keep walking. Such a long way. Walking, down. Look how far this is. I mean, not for me, but obviously for a lot of other people who are not that good to walk. This is such a significant distance. And then here we are at the bus stops. Crazy. Yep. Okay. And I think that's it. Yep, they've made sure that school students are properly facilitated with the special school services as well. Here's again about the stadium operations. I already talked about that. Accessibility. All bus stops serviced by new routes introduced as part of the shutdown are accessible and comply with disability standards. Do I still need to pay? So here it says yes, you do have to pay, but I actually read on a news website, it actually said they are considering reducing the fares for Armadale line users due to the inconvenience, just like they made free travel for Bayswater, but I don't know if that'll come into effect. So that's basically it, except the final thing I want to mention here. This is so weird. You know, as I said before, they said 7 new stations. Didn't even talk about Ranford Road, Nicholson Road, but they did include Byford, so that's just weird. Or did I count wrong? No, I don't think I did. Hang on, let me count again. Carlisle, new. Oat Street, 2. Queen's Park, 3. Cannington, 4. Beckenham, 5. Armadale, 6. And then Byford, 7. Or maybe they're counting Thornlie as 7 and not Byford, because they will be doing some changes. But it's not that major, so I don't know why they count that. So if they are counting Byford, why didn't they count Ranford Road and Nicholson Road? Well, maybe because of this. Trains on the Armadale Thornlie line, including services on the new elevated rail and services to the new Byford Station, see, they specifically mentioned Byford Station, are scheduled to operate once the shutdown is complete. They did not mention Thornlie Coburn Link. Like, they actually didn't. They just said new Byford Station. They didn't say Thornlie Coburn Link, which is making me highly skeptical, especially since I've seen the progress they've made, which is not much, and with saying only 7 new stations, that the Thornlie Coburn Link will not open after the shutdown. Like, it's gonna still be closed, still not operational for a while, and Thornlie will still be a terminus. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but it seems like that. It seems they're already anticipating that, and at the rate at which they're going, having to do this major project as well under the time limit of the shutdown, and like doing Ellenbrook line, I really don't think that it'll be able to be finished on time. And originally it was meant to be 2021, now it's this much later, which is just crazy. So hopefully it still opens in 2025 though. And there will also still be work on station precincts and community open spaces. And that's it. You can go to the METRONET website to see much more information on the whole project and stuff, which they have announced here. Armadale line shutdown begins 20th of November. And again, it says all the same stuff. Here it says, will also be completed during the shutdown. Yeah, here it says, Thornlie Coburn Link delivering 2 new stations and providing the first east-west rail connection. Okay, it says that here, so I don't know. Yeah, and they also made 1.2 kilometers, which is not much though, of bus priority lanes along Shepperton Road and Albany Highway at major intersections, and install intelligent technology systems to minimize traffic lights, waiting for buses, and the disruption and stuff. Yep. And that should be it. Timetables for the new and enhanced routes will be released in mid-September, it's going to be. So it's going to be a little bit of a wait still, but I'll update you once we do get them. It's only mid-August at the moment, but at least we know all the routes now. An increase of 20% in transit officer hours. How about you actually get some transit officers on the Armadale line and stop making them hang out around the airport line? There's like barely any ever on the Armadale line. But yeah, okay, that's that. And now finally, I'm not sure, I haven't even checked. TransWA. Obviously, with the shutdown, the Australind is also going to be impacted, and it will no longer be running anywhere because they can't do maintenance at it at Claysbrooks and let it run down the Armadale line, so it's not going to be running. Perth to Bunbury, replaced by coaches. And oh yeah, they did release it here. And also, since they're making the new Australind train with the similar design to the C series, it's also going to be the last time the current old diesel Australind train runs on the 19th, on the Sunday, which I'll also be taking, which is like the 5 p.m., 5:50 p.m. departure from Perth. But obviously I can't go to Bunbury because I won't be able to get back to do the last Transperth service, which is even more significant. So I'm only going to be taking it to Byford, just a quick trip on the last service, and then taking the bus back. So as you can see here, from 20th November, the Armadale Thornlie line will close until mid-2025. TransWA road coaches will operate between Bunbury and East Perth, not Perth. Oh, that's weird. They do have a train replacement bus stop for the Australind outside Perth, but I guess they're not using it. In recognition of disruption to our passengers, we're offering a 50% discount on the standard concession and smart commuter fares when traveling on the Australind replacement road coaches during the shutdown. Ooh, I didn't know that. That's so cool. That means for a student, I can get to Bunbury for like $8.50. $8.50. That's nothing. That's actually nothing. Oh wow, that's so cool. Road coaches to Bunbury for $8.50 or $17 for adults. Wow, so cool. Each Australind train will be replaced by 2 road coaches, an all-stop service and a limited stop service. Okay. Services will now operate between Bunbury and East Perth terminals, and there will be some changes to the timetable to maintain connecting services. And yes, they will be affected by traffic. The limited stops will allow passengers to transfer to the Mandurah line at Quinana Station and connect to the Perth CBD in approximately the same amount of time as the current journey. Ooh, that's really cool. Okay, so TransWA is gonna stop at Quinana now. I don't know why. Like it stops at it could stop at Mandurah. Oh no, limited stops. Limited stops probably means like literally Bunbury to Perth Express because that's what most people use it for. Maybe stopping at like Harvey or something, but I don't know. And then it stops at Quinana, so you can take the train into the city, and it's not going to be much longer than the current journey. That's very cool. TransWA at Quinana. I didn't know that. So yeah, that's it. That's the final thing to say. And that's everything now. And this has been a long video to cover all changes. I will be out filming on the weekend from the 18th to the 19th, taking the last TransWA and Transperth trains, and then enjoying all the new bus services. Hope it's not too much of a disruption for everyone. There is quite a comprehensive network, even if they did change it quite a bit and remove some of the original plans they had. But it should be okay, and it's going to be great results afterwards with 3 METRONET projects probably complete rather soon after the shutdown ends, halfway through 2025. And in that time we're also going to have the Ellenbrook line open, probably before the shutdown ends. It should, so that'll be even better. Very exciting. And yep, I'll make sure to make a community post once the timetables are released, and if there's anything major I might make another video like this. So yep, thanks for watching, and I hope you understood all the changes. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments, because I did read everything thoroughly and I understand it all, so I should be able to answer your question. Yep, alright, bye, subscribe.